Swipe left, tap like, post again, repeat. It feels like freedom, right? Sharing your story, owning your voice, showing the real you to the world. But pause for a second. What if every carefully crafted selfie, every viral TikTok, every perfectly curated feed isn't actually control, but something else entirely? What if it's self-commodification? Turning yourself into a brand, a product, a performance. Now imagine Nietzsche scrolling through this digital crowd. The philosopher who preached raw authenticity and fierce individuality. Would he throw up a cringe filter on influencer culture? Or secretly admire those who build their own values, their own power, their own image from scratch? Today we're putting Nietzsche's ideas, his will to power, his call for true authenticity, and his sharp critique of the herd, to the test against the world of curated lives, follower counts, and viral fame. Because beneath the clicks and filters lies a question that hasn't changed since Nietzsche's time. Are we truly free, or just playing a new kind of game? Picture this. A solitary man trekking through the jagged Alps, notebook clutched tight in one hand, thunder echoing in the distance. He's not searching for likes or followers. Instead, he's wrestling with a question that still haunts us today. What does it mean to live a life that's truly your own? That man was Friedrich Nietzsche. Long before Instagram stories and TikTok trends, Nietzsche sensed a modern dilemma lurking beneath the surface. The danger of becoming just another face lost in the crowd. But Nietzsche didn't see life as a dull, endless slog to get through. No, for him, life was a stage, a canvas, a battleground for what he called the will to power. And don't get it twisted. This power wasn't about crushing others or ruling from above. It was a far deeper, more personal mastery. The courage to sculpt your own existence, bold stroke by bold stroke. He believed the greatest achievement wasn't imitation. It was self-overcoming. To become who you truly are meant breaking free from the herd's shadows, rejecting easy conformity, and forging a path so uniquely yours that others might call it strange, even lonely. Authenticity, for Nietzsche, wasn't a casual hashtag or a surface-level vibe. It was a fierce excavation, digging beneath the noise to uncover your core values and standing by them, even if they clash violently with the world's applause. And when he looked out at the culture of his time, Nietzsche didn't see progress or enlightenment. Instead, he saw mediocrity disguised as mass appeal, a society where thinking for yourself became rare, applause became currency, and popularity replaced genuine meaning. Sound familiar? If you're thinking about influencers, algorithms, and the carefully curated identities flooding your feed, you're not far off. So let us take a step back and imagine what Nietzsche might say if he scrolled through your Instagram stories today. At first glance, today's influencers might seem like Nietzsche's wildest dream come true. They're bold, unapologetic. They speak their minds in reels, dance across TikTok screens, rewrite rules on beauty, gender, ambition. They challenge norms not from dusty books, but from bedrooms, sidewalks, and studios, armed with phones, hashtags, and raw confidence. They don't wait for approval. They build entire identities from scratch, aesthetic universes where they are the main character. Camera becomes a mirror, and that mirror reflects back not just to them, to millions. To most of us, this looks like freedom. But if Nietzsche were here, watching the stitched transitions and brand partnerships roll by, he might raise one skeptical eyebrow and ask, is this true self-overcoming? Or is this just the herd? With better lighting, because for Nietzsche, individuality wasn't about standing out. It wasn't about being different on purpose. It was about being true to the quiet, raw process of becoming something only you could become. And that process, it's not aesthetic. It's not viral. It's not always pretty. It's slow. It's lonely. It doesn't ask for likes. To Nietzsche, real transformation, real becoming, isn't about breaking society's rules so much as breaking your own. Overcoming your fears, your laziness, your borrowed beliefs. It's not rebellion as a pose. It's rebellion as rebirth. And that's the paradox. When every authentic post starts to follow the same rhythm, when rebellion becomes an aesthetic with presets, when confidence is curated, edited, and monetized, is that liberation? Or is it just conformity, dressed in glitter, sold in stories, and optimized for reach. Nietzsche didn't believe the danger came from oppression alone. He believed it came from seduction, the kind that makes us believe we're free, while we're still performing. In today's digital age, authenticity isn't just encouraged, it's monetized. We're told to be raw, to just be ourselves. Behind the scenes, glimpses, messy desks, no makeup mornings. This is what builds trust. This is what gets engagement. Vulnerability, ironically, has become a brand strategy. But look a little closer. Even our confessions are curated. The lighting's softer, the pauses rehearsed, the breakdowns timed to trending sounds. And somewhere in the middle of this well-lit vulnerability, we begin to wonder, where does the real me end and the performing me begin? This is the authenticity paradox. Nietzsche saw it coming long before Instagram. He called it the pull of the herd. He warned that no matter how far we think we've strayed from convention, the crowd has a way of pulling us back. With praise, with attention, with applause. In our quest to be unique, we often become another version of the same. Social media doesn't just reflect that. It amplifies it. When your identity is measured in views and followers, self-expression easily slides into self-surveillance. You begin to watch yourself, not as a person growing, but as a character performing. The algorithm doesn't reward your depth, it rewards your predictability. And the consequences, they don't just show up in philosophy books, they show up in therapy rooms. Psychological studies now link social media overuse to rising rates of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. Not just in followers, but in influencers themselves. Many report identity diffusion, emotional exhaustion, and even physical symptoms like insomnia, digestive issues, or migraines, all from living under constant scrutiny. And those watching, they form what psychologists call parasocial relationships, one-sided emotional bonds with creators they'll never meet. These bonds can be comforting, they can feel intimate, but they don't reciprocate. They don't check on you. They don't notice when you disappear. You can follow someone every day for years and still be utterly alone. So maybe Nietzsche was right again. Maybe even those who rise above the herd, who seem free, confident, admired, are just caught in a new kind of trap. Not chains this time, but ring lights, notifications, and the silent demand to be visible. Always. Nietzsche's idea of the will to power wasn't about bossing others around or ruling with an iron fist. It was something much more profound, the fiery, restless force inside us that pushes us to create, to shape our own destiny, to tear down old labels and build new versions of ourselves from scratch. But when you peek behind the curtain of influencer culture, power often wears a different face. Instead of blazing original trails, many creators find themselves chasing after the glow of hearts, likes, and shares, the digital applause of an unseen crowd. Each click becomes a tiny vote of approval, every comment a gentle push to keep doing what works. Slowly, the influencer starts serving not art or truth, but the whims of their audience and the invisible hand of the algorithm. Here's the paradox. This feels like freedom. But Nietzsche would recognize it as a kind of soft tyranny, a quiet, invisible rule, enforced not by chains, but by expectations and data. What once was raw, bold expression begins to fade into safe repetition. The daring edges get smoothed out to fit marketable shapes. The spontaneous moments become carefully rehearsed scenes. And before you know it, the influencer stops becoming the fearless creator who challenged norms and starts maintaining, protecting their brand, renewing their power like a lease that expires every 24 hours. This power isn't born from within. It's borrowed, conditional, and fragile, tied to trends, followers, and fleeting moments of fame. And Nietzsche, he'd see right through it. This isn't the triumphant rise of individuality. It's a polished performance, packaged, curated, and stamped herd-approved. Not every creator is caught in the dazzle of perfectly polished feeds or the relentless chase for viral fame. Some turn away from the glare of the spotlight and instead dive deep into the work itself. The slow, steady rhythm of writing, the quiet moments behind a camera lens, the raw, messy vulnerability of a song still in the making. For these creators, the focus isn't on crafting a flawless image, but on honing their craft, exploring their truth, and embracing the unfinished. In choosing this path, they whisper something truly radical. That meaning doesn't need to be validated by mass approval. These are the voices that dare to show the unfiltered reality, not to seek sympathy or likes, but because they're still becoming. They speak openly about self-doubt, uncertainty, those days when the creative spark feels lost and the screen stays stubbornly blank. They don't just talk about growth, they embody it. And in Nietzsche's terms, that is genuine self-overcoming. The courage to face yourself honestly without blinking. This kind of raw honesty isn't easy, but its power is undeniable. Mental health conversations, once taboo and hidden, are now breaking through the noise. Viewers find words for their own struggles and discover solidarity in shared pain. Yet there's a shadow side. Misinformation spreads just as quickly. Therapy tips get compressed into sound bites. Emotional monologues sometimes come sponsored, blurring the line between healing and content. Even the most sincere journeys risk becoming commodified. That's why critics and advocates alike are raising their voices, calling for clear guidelines. It's transparency and ethics, not to silence these creators, but to safeguard the authenticity and soul at the heart of their message. Because in this digital age, the real rebels aren't always the loudest or the trendiest. Often, they are the ones who show up day after day, fractured, uncertain, and still creating. Not for followers or fame, but for truth. If Nietzsche were here today, scrolling alongside us through endless streams of filtered faces and repeating trends, I imagine he'd pause and laugh. Not a mocking laugh, but one that cuts through all the illusions and sees what is really going on beneath the surface. He'd tell us to ditch the follower count, to stop measuring our worth by a machine's tally of likes and clicks. Because true meaning isn't found in chasing relevance, but in risking irrelevance for something real and raw. Create not to be liked, he might say, but to become. Don't just sell values as a product. Make them your own. Fail boldly, mess up, speak uncomfortable truths, even if they echo in silence. Because in the end, what really counts isn't how many eyes watched, but who you became through the act of creating. So here's a question for you, the viewer on the other side of the screen. Think about the creators who truly move you, the ones who don't just entertain but transform. Who are they? What is it about them that feels different, real, authentic? And what about you? When you post, scroll, or share, are those moments acts of self-creation, or quiet plays for acceptance, for belonging? If this journey through Nietzsche and influencer culture sparked something in you, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Who's your favorite creator that feels truly creative and authentic? And how about you? Are your online moments about being yourself or just fitting in? Because maybe, just maybe, the greatest rebellion today is simply to be genuinely you.